Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture of Cyberpunk 2077. So today we're gonna go out into the hills of North Oak. North Oak is a district on the hills to the east of the city. There's not that much out there. There are a few houses for rich people, and that's basically it. Anyway, there are a few other things. If we get on the bike, so we don't have to walk all the way around. Let's get my bike. And we'll go around all the locations, right? Go clockwise. So Norfolk is interesting. It's one of the only districts, in fact it is the only district, that is kind of outside the city, I guess you would call it. Although there is the Badlands, which is really outside the city. You know, for a city that's that densely populated, it's interesting that North Oak is not populated. I guess the game needs some locations that are not inside a busy city. And so they just put everything in North Oak, right? That doesn't actually belong inside the city. In the real world, obviously, around the city there'll be a lot of countryside. But in the game, because, you know, video games are so constrained in terms of how much space they have to work with, they packed everything here into North Oak. Alright, first of all, the first location we have a Shinto shrine, kind of a Shinto shrine. If we step up here, the words, that says Night City Memorial Shrine, I think is what that says, which is a strange name for a shrine. Usually shrines have fancier names. Anyway, before we get in there, let us go over to Wikipedia and let's talk about Shinto shrines, specifically the architecture, or at least the pieces of a Shinto shrine. Let me scroll down a bit. Ooh, let's look at those pictures too. Look at that. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Timber structures. Very nice. Oh yeah, a more traditional one with the thatch roof. And like logs holding the roof down. Very cool. Uh, yeah, look at that. Very traditional Japanese architecture. What is that? This is a series of gates, which forms a tunnel almost. Oh, very interesting. A little bit newer than the other one. Even the lantern has a little roof on it. It's like a big roof and a small roof. Very cool. Very intricate timber work. Look at that. Oh, very interesting. Alright, so structure. Parts of a shrine. Here's a picture, first of all. So usually the gate, the Torii gate is right at the front, and you have steps up and then the pathway, right? And then there are a bunch of numbers. Let me look at the numbers. So the Shinto gate, the Torii, and then the stone stairs, the Sando, the approach to the shrine. So there's a long path in, usually there's a long path in. Along the path, there's a place of purification to cleanse one's hands and mouth. Basically, it's just like a bowl of water or a basin of water. Chozuya or Temizuya. Uh, yeah, so it's like that. There's a little basin where you wash your hands. And then there's Toro, decorative stone lanterns, so those things. Very interesting. Tori, oh yeah, that one's in the water. Interesting that the path has its own Wikipedia page. The path leading into the shrine also has its very own dedicated Wikipedia page. So you have lanterns, and then there's the Kagura Den. The Kagura Den is a stage for performances, for sacred performances, usually dances. Although I guess you can have speeches too, maybe. We have administration offices, wooden plaques. Oh, these are fun. Now we won't see this in the game, but there are there's sometimes like a board, a message board where you can pin your wishes. So these are cool. So you like make a prayer, you write down your prayer and you pin it on the board. Small auxiliary shrines. So because Shinto is polytheistic, there are multiple gods. Sometimes in a shrine there'll be like one major kami, one major god, spirit. Let's call it spirits. Like one big spirit and then like multiple smaller spirits. Um, like in Christianity, the whole monotheistic thing, like God is God. So kami is like spirits, but like powerful spirits. And then we have Koma Inu, which is dogs or lions that flank the temple. They're statues that flank the main temple and guard the front door of it. And then you have the Haiden, which is the hall of worship. So this is where you go for the ceremonies. And then the Honden. So Haiden is the place that you're allowed to go to. Honden is the actual sacred space where most people aren't allowed to go in there. So that's where the kami actually is. So the actual shrine. So then the Haiden's in front, Hoden is behind. Tamagaki is the fence, which also has its own Wikipedia page. Although in this case, Tamagaki is only around the Honden, only around the most sacred shrine. Alright, so to recap, there's the gate, right? And then the stairs at the path. And then near the entrance, a basin to wash your hands. You might have a series of decorative lanterns. You have administrative offices. You have a board for prayers. And then, oh, wait a minute, 6 and 7, hold on, did I get it wrong? 6 and 7, yeah, no, I got it wrong. So 6 is the stage for performances. 7 is the administrative offices. You have minor shrines, and then you have major shrines. This is the public one, and this is the sacred one, right? So two buildings. Well, sometimes they're joined together, like two halves of the same building. But in this case, it's two separate buildings where the kami actually is, and then where you go to worship the kami. So that's the general layout of a Shinto shrine. It's not that strict. Sometimes they mix things around a little bit. Oh, very interesting. Oh, look at that roof. So what does the caption say? The Honden. So the Honden's behind the wall. The door is closed. You're not supposed to go back there, right? There's a triple roof on this one. Yeah. A more traditional building. Very cool. This one's even raised up. So again, there's the fence around the Honden. That is the Honden, right? Yep, the Honden. And then sometimes you have like just smaller shrines. This was a really small one. It's just a shrine, there's nothing else. Very cool. Oh, here's the what's that say? How to worship. Please worship with sincerity. Make a bow, give money, bow twice, clap your hands, and then bow once. It seems complicated to me, but okay. Alright, we have a priest doing a ceremony. Look at that roof. Look at that carpentry. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So enough of that. Let me get back in the game. So some of this is not quite right, but we're gonna give it a pass. So the Torii should be out here. The Torii should be at the very edge. And then you go up the path, and then you go into the shrine proper. But it's okay. Not too concerned about the details.
Damn those cosplayers!
We do have decorative lanterns, a few of them. And the sequence is a bit off too, right? So there's the stage for the performances. And then here is the basin for the water where you wash your hands. So this is... because the whole point of washing your hands is, as you come in the front door, you clean off the dust, you clean off the dirt from the travels, and then you are clean when you're inside the sacred grounds of the temple, right? So you're supposed to wash off the dirt and then be clean inside. So the basin really should be at the front door instead of back here, because you already dragged all the dirt inside the temple and then you wash yourself. So the placement of this actually does matter. It's a bit strange here in the video game. The stage... Not sure if this stage is being used properly or correctly. I mean, there are seats here. They're facing the wrong way though, hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure if the stage is right either. It kind of is. Maybe it should be facing the other way or something. I think this is supposed to be the administrative offices back here. And there are kind of offices. So the offices are not sacred spaces, not really. And then coming into here, another gate, and then here's the main shrine, right? The High Den and the Hon Den. So the one in front is the one where the public is allowed to go into. Oh, do I have to... Okay, these people don't like me. Let me, put them to sleep real quick. Because they're gonna interfere with our architecture tour otherwise. Alright, I think that's everybody. Alright, GG, well played. Alright, as we said, so this is the public one. You come in here, if there are any ceremonies, speeches, it's in this space. Although I'm not sure this is worry about design for it. We have to keep in mind that this is designed for gameplay first and accuracy second, right? So in the game, as you saw, there were enemies here. And in one of the side missions of the game, you infiltrated the temple. And so a lot of this is for gameplay purposes, like the fact that these walls obstruct visibility. It doesn't really make sense inside a temple because it's supposed to be... I mean, imagine a church, right? You have a church and you can't see, you know, the person who's talking to you when you're in there for some sort of ceremony or some sort of service. That doesn't make sense. But here, because it's for gameplay, so they give you places to hide and do your stealth thing. And so these like side spaces don't really make sense. But anyway, gameplay reasons. So we're not too concerned about that. But yeah, the shape of this is inconvenient for an actual temple. Coming back here, I think this is supposed to be the Hon Den. So you do have another wall around this. And that's supposed to be where the kami is. You see how it's raised up? We saw in the Wikipedia article, in some of those pictures, you have like steps up and then the actual sacred space is raised up. So they did that here too. Except if you go inside, there's no kami. There's no god in Night City. The story is, in the game, the story is that the tiger claws have set up surveillance cameras and microphones throughout the temple, and when the like high-ranking Japanese corporate executives come to pray at the temple, they listen in to hear to listen to the secrets that they say when they're praying. So the executives think they're praying in secret and they're kind of confessing to the god, but there's no god here. There's only tiger claws collecting espionage intelligence on them. So that's the story. Extremely blasphemous, completely inappropriate, but that's the story. So this whole thing it's fake. It's just an intelligence gathering operation run by the Tiger Claws gang. uh, all right. So architecturally, though, some of this is kind of good. It's a curious mixture of modern and traditional, right? I mean, there's the timber, but they use bolts. I'm not happy about bolts, but they do. It's not proper Japanese carpentry, not even close. And this is concrete, I think. And if we look out here, so this is concrete. This is modern precast concrete, I believe. Concrete construction, and that looks concrete too. And then at the very edges and maybe the top of the roof, there's a bit of timber work. And there's a bit of timber work here in the columns as well. So it's a mix. It's a mix of modern and traditional architectural construction techniques. What is this? Timber set into concrete is a little interesting. And the columns are they're not timber columns, they're concrete columns. So it does fit into the whole cyberpunk concept, right? You have a mix of old and new, a mix of tradition and futurism. Interestingly, the foundations are properly timber. Of all the things, right? You would think the foundations would be concrete, but no, the foundations are proper timber. And then the walls are concrete. That's not how that would work usually. Oh, look at that. That's quite nice. Oh, yeah. The little brackets thing is completely wrong. They put the brackets all in the wrong place. And the beam needs to be thicker. Yeah, no, you can see, look. You can tell that they made a roof, and then they made the columns, and they made the walls, and they made them as separate pieces. And then somebody took these pieces and they just assembled them together. But the person who assembled them didn't really understand how they work. So like like when you make a video game, it's a big game, you have a lot of people working on the game. So someone's making the assets. Yeah, you have somebody, the artist makes the assets, and then you have the level designer take the assets and assemble a level out of them. And the person who's assembling the pieces together don't understand how they actually fit together as real-world architecture. And so that's a real mess. That's like it's all over the place. Oh well, not everything's gonna be perfect. We have like a metal gate as well. I'm not sure about this mix of futuristic and traditional. Like I get it, it's cyberpunk, right? I don't really respect it. I get it, but I don't respect it. I respect, like, especially for an actual shrine, I respect a proper Japanese timber carpentry. But that's just my opinion. I mean, you don't have to agree with me there. These lanterns are cool. Look at that. Masked lanterns. Very awesome. And of course, you know, always that juxtaposition between the traditional and the futuristic. We have the blue lighting inset into the ground, so that's very futuristic. Future modernism and tradition next to each other, like the blue light and the yellow light. Oh, interesting. Is it though? right? Very futuristic, modern lights. And then like traditional paper lanterns. Alright, back outside. Is there anything else we need to say about this? Not really. Except all the brackets are in the wrong place. But aside from that... Oh, there's also a souvenir shop. I mean vending machines. I don't think you're supposed to have vending machines and souvenir shops inside the shrine. Oh, I can open this. Hey, who lives here? I guess this is like a staff room. There's a staff room, and then there's like a records room. Maybe this is where they keep all their records of their spying on people. Yeah, so there's like a souvenir shop slash snack bar. We can buy little carved things. I don't think you're supposed to have a souvenir shop inside the temple. Like, you can have them outside the temple, next to the temple, I think that's fine. But like, inside the temple grounds, I think this is a little bit disrespectful, to say the least.
Did I say we were finished?
Oh, I skipped the dog statues. The lion dogs. So there they are, not very big. Small little lion dog statues. So about these like Chinese lions. Lions haven't existed in mainland China for a long time, if ever. So lions, they used to roam to the north, and there are also lions to the south. So the Chinese people, they knew about lions, but there were no lions in China, right? But they knew about them. And so in Chinese history, lions are mythological creatures. Because like they are rumored to exist, but nobody's ever seen one in China. So like, you know, we know lions exist, and every so often somebody like an emissary from the Middle East or something would bring a lion over and present it to the emperor or something, and the emperor would put a lion in a zoo. So there are like some lions in China, but they're like the natural habitat of lions is not in China. So very interestingly, in Chinese culture, the lion has become this mythological creature that is supposed to be like some sort of guardian, a guardian spirit, like a big fierce dog. But it is definitely a lion, right? It's got a mane, and it's not like the features are not dogs. But you see here, like it's kind of half dog, half not. Anyway, so that's the Chinese lion. If you're wondering like why do Chinese people make their lions look like that? That's not what lions look like. Yeah, no, because like there aren't actually lions in China. But Chinese people know that lions exist somewhere. So it's like it's like a dragon or a unicorn. A lion. Alright, let's get out of here. So this is the shrine. It kinda has all the pieces, but it also isn't quite right. But it's not really a temple anyway. It's a spying operation by the Tiger Claws. Moving on to the next thing. Come around here. Not sure why this needs to be covered, by the way. I mean, it looks cool. Sometimes you would cover the highways if there's an avalanche risk. But there's not really an avalanche risk, so I'm not sure why they do that. Okay, the next location is a drive-in theater. A drive-in theater In the year 2077, how many of you have actually been to a drive-in theater? I've never been to a drive-in theater, and we're not even in 2077. We're in like 2025. Like even today, drive-in theaters are obsolete. I mean, they still exist in some places, but it's like it's a novelty, right? So they want you to believe that in the year 2077, drive-in theaters still exist. In the game, again, this is one of the story locations. It's supposed to be some nostalgic date between two old people trying to reminisce about their youthful days. But even when those people were young, drive-in theaters should have been obsolete. So anyway, it's just a nostalgia trip. The whole thing is just a nostalgia trip that doesn't actually make sense if you think about it. Why would anyone in Night City ever go to a drive-in? Up there we have the projector. And look at the shape of the architecture too. Like it's got the rounded corners. It looks very 70s, 60s, 70s. As we said, nostalgia. It looks like this on the inside, surprisingly clean. But the feel of this is supposed to be pleasant, right? There's two old people trying to rekindle their feelings for each other is the story. And so everything's kind of bright colors, pink, and just nice, supposedly. Oh, there's a gang there. I can remove them. Let me just stay away from them. So I guess you sell snacks there, right? There might be a toilet block there as well. Oh, the drive-in is way too small as well, by the way. I'm pretty sure a real drive-in is much bigger than this. Not too much to say about it. It's, yeah, no, it's something you would... It doesn't, it's not real. I mean, maybe I'm just, unromantic. I mean, I am unromantic. But there's no way you can convince me that this is real. This is some sort of, you know, teenage romance movie plot sort of thing. It doesn't exist in the real world! And it's only in the game for that, like for a love story, basically. Okay, moving on to the next thing. Let's get away from this sappy love story nonsense. We're going back past the shrine and then we're gonna turn left. You can kind of see there's more buildings up there, right? Don't crash. What's that guy doing on my silent road? Alright. Up here? And then turning left. Before we go in there though, look at this. There's a security gate halfway up the mountain. And as we come down the other side, there's also a security gate too. So at some point, you go up the mountain and there's security. And beyond the security, that's where the rich people have their houses. So they've just gated off the whole mountain. These rich people, they post security guards at the entry. Come on, go away. Alright, coming this way. So this is a little strange. That looks a little bit like a communications tower. And maybe that's what it was meant to be. But if we come into here... Impala Automatics. For some unknown reason, there is a robot factory up here in the rich residential district, halfway up the mountain. It doesn't make any sense at all. I think this is purely for gameplay purposes. In the game, there's a little side quest here where you infiltrate Impala Automatics. Yeah, I think this is just for gameplay. But they set up this little space, right? And it's kind of supposed to be a factory. There's an office block here. And then there are factory sheds here. And you know, like there's storage and there's shipping areas. So all the pieces are kind of here. It's just that the location doesn't make any sense at all. It's so far away from any of the other industrial buildings in the city. Right, you have robots. So they're manufacturing stuff here, apparently. Kinda cool. Automated robots. Robots making robots. And like, I don't know how the communications tower fit into it. And then I guess out here is shipping. There's a landing pad for aerial vehicles over there. If we get up here, so landing pad for aerial vehicles. Yeah, there's a small factory here. For no reason. For purely gameplay reasons. And narratively does not make any sense at all. Okay, let's continue. I mean, how would they even get materials up here? You have to ship... You have to truck all your materials all the way up the mountain. And then everybody who comes to work has to drive all the way up the mountain. Yeah, it's just nonsensical. But that's the thing about North Oak, right? Like, it's just... There's nothing out here except for a few houses. And I guess like anything that didn't fit into the oh, going there, yeah. Anything that didn't fit into the city, they just put up here, right? Alright, so at the very top of North Oak, we have a big Arasaka logo there, look at that. So there's an Arasaka estate. We can jump over the... and in. Oh, look at that. So the Arasakas have a big house here on the outskirts of the city. That implies that there's more stuff underground. It could just be a car park, or there could be like a whole underground facility in here. Who knows, right? Maybe there's a big big secret Arasaka's facility under the ground. You never know. Parking space. And then a big garden in front. So the garden design is not... aesthetically, not really, not that interesting. But the thing is, again, this is another gameplay area. So you see these, this is cover, right? So in the game, you're supposed to sneak into the house. And so the front yard is part of that gameplay. If you try to think, well, what's the artistic merit of this garden design? There really isn't any, because it's really made for gameplay. We have fancy pools, fancy water feature. Can we like sneak through here? Not really. Just trying to figure out what the mirror of this is. We have a landing pad again for aerial vehicles. And you have 3 separate paths up. Which, like, again, it's more for gameplay than for practical reasons. And then back here, behind this wall, you have some outdoor living spaces. Look at this. We have an outdoor lounge. Very nice. Over here, underneath this cantilever, we have a fire pit, conversation tip, and an outdoor fireplace. There's a big pool at the back. That's also cool. Great views of the city. Very nice. Jumping over to the other side. We have outdoor dining table. Very cool. Yeah, no, like this part is not aesthetically interesting. And then around on the other side, there is a side building here. So this is the security building. If you come in here, there's a whole lot of servers. A person would be in that chair providing cyber security. Yeah, no, this whole outdoor spaces. Is mostly for gameplay, the layout of it. The main house is pretty plain on the outside, on this side at least. Big glass windows. Very horizontal, very modern. In the front door. Big lobby with a staircase. So this is not a functional space in the sense that, like, what is this, a lounge? It's not a lounge, it's not a dining. It's basically a nothing space, except I guess if you're intruding in here, the guards on the upper floor can get a clear shot at you as you try to come in. So it's a very, very big entry space. And maybe it's purely for defense purposes, because there's no other function here. On this side we have indoor dining, so there's the outdoor dining and there's indoor dining. And a bar. And not really a kitchen. Notice how there's no cooktops. So there's alcohol and there's drinks. But the actual kitchen is back here. And you'll notice that it's a service space, right? It's not for guests. I don't know if the Arasakas do any of their own cooking, but it doesn't look like it. This looks like a space only for servants and staff. But the cooking gets done here. Coming back out. Oh, it's getting foggy outside. On the other side, so there's the fireplace again. The outdoor fireplace is out there. On this side, an office. Not very well decorated office. It's very functional, a lot of machines. I wonder whose office this is. Could be the secretary, might not be the Arasakas themselves. This goes back to the kitchen. behind the house, there's this space. Oh yeah, no, it's way too foggy. Let me pass the fog so I can get the view back. Oh, we can't skip time in here. That's unfortunate. So here, we're not sure what this is either. There's a few tables and there's not a furniture. There's a swimming pool back here, right? I don't know if anybody ever actually goes swimming in here or no. But you might imagine, like, you might get you might sunbathe back here. You might meditate back here. If we could see the city, it would be quite nice to see the city outside. But at the moment, there's no ornamentation in here and no furniture either. So you can't tell how this space is used. I really want to pass the time and get a better weather. Alright, I'm gonna have to go back to where it's not hostile to pass the time. Okay, I'm gonna try and... Nope, still foggy. Wow. Okay, that's better. So coming back to the pool again. Oh, there you go. See, this is what I mean, right? You might imagine you would sit here and meditate with a great view of the city. Perhaps. I mean, you probably can go swimming, but it doesn't look like anybody ever goes swimming in here. Because, like, there's no towels, there's no chairs, there's nothing here, right? Upstairs... I guess we go this way. We have a long hallway into the bathroom. Look at that. A very large bathroom with a very large shower. Enough space here for like 6 people or something. Large shower with great views. Right, very cool. And notice how the bathroom is far away from everything else. So the thing with bathrooms is you can hear noise if you're close to other people. And so if you're rich enough to have a really big house, ideally you put your bathroom further away so you don't hear the bathroom noises, whether it's, you know, showers or anything else. We can't get into this room. I believe it's the main bedroom in there. It's locked for story reasons at the moment. Over here, though, we have a bedroom. Actually, what's in here? Wait a minute. What is this? Oh, there's nothing here, okay. So this bedroom is probably a secondary bedroom. It's got its own balcony out here. A private balcony with a bar. I'm a little surprised there's no ensuite. This could be like a separate apartment otherwise. Great views, look at that. And then coming out here, The house transitions seamlessly into an outdoor balcony. Look at that. The indoor and the outdoor kind of merges into each other. Bit of a seating area overlooking the property. And the outdoor space continues up to the roof, where we have a bit of a party space. Look at that, a lot of chairs. And a bar back there. And oh, look at that, a skylight. You can look down. Right, fancy bar there. And more seating areas with great views of the city again. So as we walk around the house, you'll notice that there's a lot of outdoor living spaces. And many parts of the house you transition smoothly from indoors to outdoors, right? And this is actually a Japanese concept. Let me switch back to Wikipedia. So in Japanese architecture, there's a concept of an engawa. Engawa, which is like a hallway around the house that is partially indoors and partially outdoors, like a porch. I mean, these days, you know what a porch is, a house with a porch. But the idea of a porch actually was borrowed from the Japanese and from Eastern Asian buildings, Southeast Asian buildings as well. So if you look at like historic European architecture, especially further north where it's not that warm, a lot of buildings are just like there's a very clear distinction between indoor and outdoor. Like there's a thick stone wall, and then there's the indoors, and there's the outdoors. Whereas in Japanese architecture, you have spaces like this, so the inside, and then like big sliding panels, and then a hallway, and then more sliding panels on the outside possibly. And so then it's not, you have a space that's not really indoors and not really outdoors. If you open up the panels, then the whole house is just outdoors. It becomes an open pavilion. Or you can close all the panels and it becomes an indoor space on the inside. And there's still a porch that's halfway in between and then the outside. So this idea of like halfway in between indoors and outdoors. So this is a very Japanese thing. And here we are, we have sliding panels. And you see they've put glass here, right? So there's like an indoor behind that wall, and then there's this space, and then there's the panels, and then there's the outdoors. And so this space is kind of like halfway. It's kind of like a sunroom because it has glass walls, right? But these ideas like a sunroom, a porch, these ideas were introduced to European architecture from the East. Right? Look, and this, look at that. So this, I think you can close all this off with sliding panels. All the stuff in front. And people talk about outdoor living, indoor-outdoor flow, like concepts like that. They really came from Asia and Southeast Asia. This one's all closed up, right? Although there's like a big eaves covering this area. Here's a slightly more modern take. So there's sliding panels back there, and then there's like a covered porch. And in fact, look at that. There's an indoor room there. Here's an indoor room here. But the space in between the two indoor rooms is outdoors. The Japanese do this. And even in like modern Japanese architecture, sometimes the modern Japanese architects would do this with modern designs as well. You have like an indoor room, and then an like outdoor corridor, and then another indoor room. And like philosophically, the idea that you remain connected to nature is an important one. What is this? Hisashi Moya, yeah, okay. So like the actual room, and then the surrounding semi-outdoor space. Connection to nature so that, you know, if when you're like walking from one room to the other, you go outdoors. So you're not like stuck indoors all the time, or you're not allowed to be stuck indoors all the time. Here we have an internal courtyard inside the house. I believe that's what that is. So it's surrounded by rooms, but the courtyard itself is open to the sky, right? So this space. And if we come back into the game, we can see that this is kind of what this is, right? It's open on this side and it's house on the inside. So the house transitions seamlessly from indoors to outdoors, and there's no clear separation between inside and outside. So that's a very Japanese concept, and I'm glad they put it here because it's appropriate given the Arasakas are Japanese, of course. Although having said that, we probably want sliding panels at some point, just because it does rain sometimes, right? It doesn't seem to rain very much here, but sometimes it does rain. And when it does rain, you want to have sliding panels and be able to close off the interior so you don't get water inside everything. So if the eaves extend out a bit more, and if you have sliding panels on the inside, that'd be great. I don't know, maybe there are panels here. No? No, there aren't. And not just with the balcony here, right? Even out here, the idea that, oh, there's like an outdoor seating area that's covered so you don't get rained on, but there's no walls, right? So like it's outdoors, indoors, and then obviously there's the outdoor living there, outdoor dining there, and the idea that to get to the outdoor dining you have to come outside, and you come here and there's like this kind of a roof, right? So this mixture of outdoor and indoor living, and the general permeability of the house, and of course the big windows too. So yeah, subtle. Subtle but very profoundly Japanese house philosophy, if that makes sense. Right, so that's the Arasaka estate. I keep thinking about this garden. Is there anything else you need to say about this? Not really. This is not Japanese garden design. It's just not. I talked about this in the previous video, right? Views, layering, balance. Yeah, like, there's no good views here. Like if it was a Japanese garden, like you would find it'd be obvious. You would find like one place where they've set up a place for you to sit and to meditate, and you look out and there's a beautiful view that's very clearly framed and designed for you to look at, right? There's none of that here because this is not a proper Japanese garden. This is just a gameplay space pretending to be a Japanese garden, right? I mean, you would expect there, like, maybe like a seat in the house. Let me just look around, just make sure I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong. I mean, look. This is the kind of architecture that looks good from above. Because when you make architecture, you draw plans, right? A plan is a diagram of the building from above. And so this sort of thing, I'm sure it looks very interesting from above. If we like try to jump up. There's some like interesting shapes. If you look at it from above, right? But the whole point of Japanese garden design is you don't design it from above, you design it from the perspective of the person who's standing inside the space. And like you design it like a landscape painting from a particular point. And that does not appear to be the case with this garden. So yeah, no. There's golden flamingos. I don't know what to make of this. This is not traditional Japanese garden design. I don't know why there's golden flamingos there, but there it is. There's seats here, right? What do we sit on these seats? Nope. Nope. The seats just face the tree. It's not very well thought out. Yeah, no, nope. Nope. No. Yeah, no, there's no there's no Japanese garden design concepts at work here. Alright, let's get back outside. You know, like the seats thing. In a Japanese garden, you would like find a seat, just like one seat, and it'd be facing at nothing. It seems like the seat is facing at nothing, but if you sit down and you just look, it's a beautiful view. And that's it. That's what the seat is there. And you have to like look out into the distance to see that. Right? It's not like, oh, there's a seat here? Why is there a seat here? There's no table, and like, is it like, if you just look close, you don't see anything. You have to look out into the distance. Anyway, none of that is happening here. Okay, the next house, opposite the Arasaka estate, we have Denny's house. Denny is a minor character in the game. So in the game, there's an old rock band, and they're all old people now. And Denny was one of the rock band members, so she's kind of rich and famous. And this is her house. She's not that rich, but she's rich enough to have a house in North Oak, right? Out here we have carport, garages, and again we have the like low horizontal rectangle modernism. Down here, oh, we have what is this? Vaguely Japanese landscaping, I guess. We can't go inside. The door does have a little bit of a covering on top. And then around here we have gardens. A small one. And the house looks like that. It's got gold trim. And these like diagonal bands of windows along the side. Except the garden looks a lot more square. The garden looks kind of like modernist Japanese. That looks very American. Like the diagonal band looks very American. Retro futuristic. The house overhangs the fence. Like, where does your property end? I guess the fence is not at the boundary. And what I mean, I'm not sure about this gold trim. It looks very tacky to me. Around the back we have a swimming pool. There is a bit of a spa pool here. Is it a spa pool? Wait, no, it's just a seating area. No, there's no water here. Okay, this is a conversation pit. And then this is the pool. Unremarkable. Some pool chairs. And there it is. I'm not sure what this is about. It looks like there's a path here, but the path doesn't go anywhere. And it doesn't even join back into the pool area. We can jump up a little bit. Let me come up here. On the roof part, there is a mattress. There's a balcony with seating on it. And we can kind of peek inside. I think this is the main bedroom. There's a bed back there. And there's a bit of seating area next to the bedroom. I guess it's just like part of the bedroom as well. And then over there, we can't see it that clearly. I believe there's a dining table in there. Oh, I fell down. Yeah, a dining table in there. So that's Denny's house. I guess it's an ordinary rich person house. There's not too much artistic merit in it, right? So everything's kind of shiny and golden and sparkling and everything looks modern and very horizontal. There's not much artistic merit though. It looks expensive, but it's not deep. It's not it's not intelligent architecture, right? It's just something that looks impressive. It looks like it costs a lot of money. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Like the difference between something that looks expensive versus something that's intelligent architecture. Like, you know, over in the Arasaka estate, there's the concept of Japanese architecture being this indoor-outdoor permeability. So like there's some architectural philosophy going on in the Arasaka estate. Here, there's none of that. I don't see any architecture philosophy here, except, hey, I've got money. Look at this gold trim on my house. Look at this gold trim on my expensive house. That's it. That's all this is. All right, moving on. That tunnel doesn't go anywhere. Coming down this way. This goes underneath the Arasaka building, huh? This seems like a security liability. I'm not sure if I believe this. Because, you know, you can plant a lot of explosives down here and literally blow up the house above, if you were so inclined. So yeah, I don't think the Arasakas would actually let somebody put a tunnel underneath their house. There's no way. Alright, so the next house... This is Kerry Eurodyne's house. Kerry Eurodyne's residence. Kerry Eurodyne is another band member, the same band as Denny. Kerry Eurodyne is richer than Denny. You notice how his house is bigger than Denny's? So he's had more success in his career than Denny. Interesting. Same gold trim, but bigger. Okay, what can we say about him? Let's walk around the garden first. There you go, golden flamingos in the garden. You know what? The flamingos fit Kerry Eurodyne more than they fit the Arasakas. I can see why Kerry Eurodyne will have flamingos. Kerry Eurodyne is somewhat flamboyant. Let's put it that way. Oh, the first thing we should talk about is, you notice how there's no walls? Look at that. Whereas the Arasaka one is very clearly behind walls, right? Although I guess as we went out the back... Oh no, I should have talked about that up there as well. So the wall, there is a wall, but the house itself sits on a terrace. So the wall is here, right? So security is there. But then the house sits on a terrace. So from the inside, you don't see the wall and you just get great views all the way out, right? There's no obstruction to your views, but there's still security because outside you're higher up than the ground outside. And it was the same up in the Arasaka building as well. I didn't point this out when I was there. But you remember how the garden, you stepped up, and then the house is on a higher level? And you notice back there, the wall steps down, so the ground steps up and the wall steps down, and so by the time you get up to the house itself doesn't have big walls. You can get like clear views all the way out. But from down here you can see how the house is actually on a plinth. And so you can't climb up there easily. So the house is secure higher up, but there's no visual obstruction. Right? Just like this. Oh, it's foggy again. Are you kidding me? Anyway, a mattress out in the open. Kerry Eurodyne is that kind of guy. And then there's rectangular boxes overhanging. It's very modern. Kind of needlessly modern, in fact. Like, why do you need to overhang like this? Just to look cool, right? There is a clear seam, though, between the bottom half and the top half. I wonder if that's good architecture or not. Is there a clear seam there? Oh, it is. If you look at it, it kind of slopes up and then moves. Why is that not smooth? Why is there a seam? Okay, I'm gonna try and get a clear sky again. Nope. Big garden. A bit of a seating area. Around the back, no railings. This is probably a safety hazard. But the view is great. Around the back of the house, underneath this overhang, behind a waterfall, there's a bit of a grotto. So that's fun. So a grotto comes from the Roman era. It's basically a cave with water in it. And, you know, you do stuff in the cave. It's nice in a hot climate because you have enough thermal mass above that you don't get the sun down here, and the water falling over the edge like this will regulate the temperature a bit. So even on hot days, it will remain quite cool inside here. So grottos are nice, but these days we have air conditioning, right? So we don't need this anymore. Back in the Roman era, the ancient Romans didn't have air conditioning. So grottos would have been like pleasant places to be on hot days because of the shade and the water. Anyway, grottos. Not sure why this is not a little bit cleaner down here though. What is the point of this space? Yeah, no railings. I'm not sure about that. I guess Kerry likes to live dangerously. Around here we have a car porch. Expensive car. And then... yeah, again there's no fence back here. We have the aerial vehicle landing pad, as always, because every rich person flies around in aerial vehicles. And then we have a bar, a party space. He set up some music equipment here because he is a musician. Very fancy, it's like your own private resort. And then around the back, there is a bit of a pool with an artificial beach with a surfboard. And it's made to look like a waterhole, like a natural waterhole. Obviously none of this is natural, But it's made to look like a natural waterhole. And if we look down here, Kerry's been chucking things in the pool. Like, what is that? One of those light fixtures. And there's like flamingos. Yeah. So the story of Kerry Eurodyne is like he's a rock musician who likes to think that he is a rebel, but he's kind of sold out, and he's gotten rich and famous, and he's sold out. So he's not really a rebel anymore. He's part of the establishment now. And so like this beach, right, is like, yeah, let's go to the beach and throw things in the water, but actually it's just a little pool in his backyard. Just a little paddling pool. So like he wants to be wild, but he's actually quite tame. That's his backstory. And so like you look at this, it's like it's like a little pool that looks wild, but actually is completely tame. Let's go inside the house, right? On this side, you'll notice the house doesn't have a lot of windows on this side. I guess for privacy purposes. So this is the street side of the house. A huge double height door. And then on the other side, on the back side of the house, there's big windows everywhere. You walk in and it's just an open space. There's a mattress, there's a chair, there's a piano. This is the dining table, I believe. Although I don't know why he doesn't have somebody clean up. Are those shoes? There's women's shoes on the dining table. And then over there we have more music equipment. So the whole house is just open space. This is what we call open plan living. By which we mean we just give you a big space and you can do whatever you like in it. The good thing about open plan living is that the architect doesn't have to design anything. The architect doesn't have to do any work. So you can just put whatever you like wherever you like. And so you can customize the space however you want. So that's the good part, right? As a person who's living in a house, you're not being constrained about what you do. Like, you're not constrained by petty things like rooms. You can just put your dining table anywhere. You can put your lounge chairs anywhere. The downside is that there's privacy problems. Kerry Eurodyne lives alone, right? So when you live alone, it doesn't really matter. But imagine you have like maybe 4 people. You have a proper household. You have 4 people. At some point, people are gonna make noise, and you're gonna be pissed off. You want rooms to have some privacy and to like not be bothered by other people sometimes. And so the problem with open plan living is there's no privacy. And like there's no way to separate yourself from the other occupants of the house. So this sort of thing, it makes sense for Kerry Eurodyne because he's a bachelor and he lives alone. So he doesn't have to worry about privacy inside his own house. He doesn't have to worry about other people doing things in his house because it's just him. But if you're not a bachelor, if you have like a whole family here, then the open plan living thing becomes quite impractical. A bit of a shrine to his old band. Oh, bathroom. Let's just check this out as well. Oh, fancy bathroom. Look at that. The sink is there, and then the toilet is there, and the shower is there. And it's just a big open space. We can't go in this door, but there is like a room in there. Not sure what that is. Could be a sauna. Like he could have a sauna in his own house. That's possible. Sauna, spa, could be anything. Over on this side, we have a lounge, I guess. There's Kerry, by the way. He's just lounging around. Oh, look at that. Great views. Great views of the city. And it is semi... I guess this would be a conservatory, right? Or like a sunroom. And then if we go upstairs, here's the quote-unquote bedroom, but as we said, there's no rooms, there's no walls, so this is the bed area. And then coming over to the other side, there's a bar. There's no kitchen. Is there a kitchen? Is there a kitchen in there? Maybe there is a kitchen in there. Or maybe he just doesn't cook, right? There's a pool table. And then coming over here, that's the TV. And there's just a lot of extra space where nothing's happening. Look at that, there's nothing happening here. So this is a holographic television, I believe. So the TV's here. And again, great views. And that's Kerry Eurodyne's house. It's just one big open space. I guess there is a bit of a toilet block towards that end. And it does separate the bedroom from the lounge a little bit. So it's not completely open space, right? There is some separation, but not much. There's no walls, there's no doors. I do also want to talk a little bit about... what is this? It's a meditation space, I guess? I do want to talk about this glass. So you notice how it's seamless? Or it looks seamless. There's seamless glass all the way around there. And if we come down, it looks like there's seamless glass there and around there, and then one single piece of glass all the way to there, or that's what it looks like. So in our world, in the real world, you never see seamless glass like this. Because a big piece of glass, like, it's not impossible, but it's hard to manufacture a big piece of glass. And then even if you manufacture a big piece of glass, it's hard to transport a big piece of glass, right? So you need a factory to make the glass. The glass making machine has to be that big to make a big piece of glass. And then you have to put it on a truck, and then you have to truck it to the construction site. And when you have a big piece of glass like this, odds are it's gonna break along the way, right? In the real world, you would have smaller pieces of glass fit together into a bigger window. And the advantage obviously is if any piece of that breaks, then you only replace one of the smaller pieces. You don't have to replace the whole thing. And the way glass cracks, if the glass breaks, the whole thing shatters, right? And whereas if you have a window made of multiple smaller pieces, the one piece shatters, it doesn't propagate to the other pieces. So, like in the real world, this is completely impractical. Like, how you transport it? You don't even have a truck this big. In Cyberpunk 2077, there's the large flying barges. So maybe you can like bring it in on a flying barge and then you can put it in place. But it's still impractical because if it ever breaks, there's going to be issues. There's also strength problems too, because glass is actually not that strong. So when you have a big piece of it, even if the wind blows on it, like a strong wind blowing on a big piece of glass will press on it, right? And that might be enough force to crack the glass and to break the glass. Because like a wind blowing on the wall, you're pushing on the wall. And glass is just not that strong. And then there's thermal expansion. There's a lot of stuff. There's thermal expansion. So glass, if you heat it and cool it repeatedly, quickly, it will shatter. Because when it heats up, it expands. When it cools down, it contracts. But if the contraction and expansion is happening in different parts of the glass at different rates, then one part will expand faster than the other, and it will just pull the whole thing apart. So there's thermal stress, there's wind, And there's, you know, there could be earthquakes. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong with a single piece of glass like this. And you don't see glass like this in the real world. So this is maybe you, I don't know if you notice, right? If you just walk in here and you don't think about it, but if you really think about it, you have never seen a single piece of glass this big before in your life. You haven't, you just haven't, because it doesn't exist in the real world. You might have like multiple pieces of glass fit together to make a big window, but there'll be seams. Now, this is a game, and it's also science fiction, and it's also the year 2077, so maybe all those problems have been overcome. It's possible that this is not actually glass, it could be some other transparent material that's much tougher, much more resistant to thermal stress, and just much stronger. It could be diamond, it could be anything, right? So it could be a different material that negates all the problems with big pieces of glass. And it's also possible that this thing is made on site. Because I was talking about how, you know, you have to make glass in a factory. The reason we have to make glass in a factory is because in order to get it to be clear and flat, you have to very carefully control how the glass is made. But, you know, imagine if there's a glass making machine, because glass is just silica, right? You melt it, and then as it cools, it'll solidify into whatever shape it was when it's molten. So if you melt it and you form it into a flat sheet, and then you let it cool, then you get a flat piece of glass. So imagine a machine that can melt and cool the glass on site in whatever shape you want. Then it'll be more like concrete. Like you can like pour the concrete on site and make whatever shape you want. Maybe you can pour the glass on site and make whatever shape you want. So maybe there's some future technology at work here that doesn't exist in our world, but which then allows you to create large continuous pieces of glass without transporting it. So that negates the problem of transport. So maybe there's some science fiction future technology going on here that explains why there's a big piece of glass on the side of this building. But anyway, I just want to point out how this sort of thing actually is not possible with our technology. Although having said that, if you look real close, you might have seen it already. There are actually seams in the glass. Let me try and find... it's hard to find them when you're looking for them. Wait. No, it's just a reflection. So at some points, there are actually small seams in the... oh, there it is. You see that there? You can see that. You can see that. So right there... oh, I can't get my gun out. So at the edge of the bowl, or like, you know, there is a small seam there. I don't know if that's intended, or if that's just an artifact of the way the video game is made. Maybe the window is made in multiple meshes, and then they put the mesh together, and it's meant to be a single piece of glass, but then the way the computer renders it, you can still see the gap. So I don't know if that's intentional, or if it's an artifact of the way the game is made. But maybe it's not actually a single piece of glass. Maybe it's multiple pieces of glass, like I said, and the way they join it together is so well done that it looks like a single piece of glass. So maybe the future technology is just the joint, right? In our world, joints in the glass, you have like a plastic bit, a plastic seal between the two pieces of glass. And even that's quite difficult to get right. Like you have to get it very precise. Yeah, so maybe there's some sort of future technology just for the joint. And imagine if this is actually multiple panels of glass that's very, very carefully joined together like this. That's also possible. And like they do it so well you can't see it. That'd be amazing. Anything else for us to say about it? No. It's modern, it's futuristic. It looks expensive, and that's mostly it. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, and the driveway too. Like, this is a small point, but if you look at the driveway, what is this stuff? There's a wavy pattern on the ground. Is this metal? It's not. Doesn't look like concrete. It doesn't look like asphalt. It looks like some kind of metal, but it's a continuous sheet. So this might also be some kind of future technology, where they lay down metal. Is it metal? Is it glass? Like, what is it? I don't know what it is. But the way they use these textures, what is this stuff? Some kind of futuristic science fiction material. Again with metal, metal is also liquid. Like, you melt it, it becomes liquid. Or you heat it up, it becomes liquid, and then it cools into a solid, right? So it's like glass, it's like concrete. If there's some way for you to heat up the metal, and then you like just pour it on the ground as a single sheet, and then let it cool, then it becomes one continuous sheet of metal, right? So you can, like, conceivably you can do it with metal, you can do it with glass. We can't do it because the temperature for doing that with metal is so high that you just can't heat up the metal on site to that high of a temperature with any machinery that we have. But you know, the physics of it, we understand how to do it. We just don't have the machine to generate that much heat on a construction site. But imagine, like, if this is metal and you just pour it on site. And that might explain some of these big black buildings too, right?
Couple MGs left.
Moving on, there's a big North Oak sign, kind of like the Hollywood sign. Not much to say about it architecturally. It's on a metal frame. Nothing remarkable about that. As we come down the hill, we have the other security gate. Remember how I said there was a security gate going up, and now there's a security gate going down. So all the rich people houses are behind an extra layer of security. And then the next landmark is this. This is the Columbarium. A columbarium is a place where you store the ashes of people who have been cremated. So it's a cemetery, but instead of burying the bodies in the ground, you cremate the bodies and then you put the ashes in a container. Alright, let's get in here. So the columbarium is like that, a lot of concrete, a lot of thick, heavy concrete to give the place the appropriate gravitas, because it is about mourning the dead. Let me go to Wikipedia. I did look up the page for this. I'm not sure if there's too much to say about it though. A columbarium? A structure for the reverential and usually public storage of funerary urns holding cremated remains of the dead, right? Not too much to say about it, but looking at some of these designs, so sometimes it's just a brick wall with gaps and you put the urns in the gaps. There you go, you have blocks of concrete, I guess, with niches, and you put the ashes in the niche and you cover it with a stone front. This is interesting. There's different sizes on this one, and it looks like it's timber too. So that's indoors, and then here's the Arlington Cemetery. Another concrete wall with niches. Some of this is kind of cool. So this is a crypt. Underground crypt with niches. There's nothing in the niches, right? Maybe they've cleared them out. They can come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, right? So we have a wall here and a series of niches. So the concept is basically that. Back in the game, the big blocks of concrete, that would be the spaces for the niches. As for the actual design of the Columbarium, though, look at this one. So there's one pathway in. You come in, there's a gate, and in fact there's a series of gates. And I guess it's implied that each of these is a niche for the ashes, but there's no names or anything on them. You come in through a series of gates, and then you pass through this covered area where it's darker, and it's lit below with this interesting blue light. And then you come through the dark space into this area, which is lit from above, and it's brighter again. You get it? Do you get it? Do you understand? So this is I think it's meant to be a metaphorical journey. So you start off in the light, and then you go through the shadow, and then you re-emerge into the light. So this is the story of life and death and afterlife, or rebirth if you believe in rebirth, right? Like you start in the light, you enter into the shadows, come back out in the light. This sort of thing is, if you study like mythology, it's a very common theme in a lot of myths in a lot of different cultures. Journeying into the dark and overcoming death and then coming out the other side is a very common story. So this is like an abstract representation of that myth. And also it's, you know, a journey through life and death and into the afterlife. Very appropriate for a columbarium, given that it's meant to be storing the ashes of people who have passed away. And that's it. That's the whole story. Light, dark, and light again. We can walk around the actual columbarium though. So it's rows of stone, similar to the memorial back in Corpo Plaza, you know, where the bombing of the old Arasaka. That memorial also had a series of standing concrete blocks. So they're reusing the same concept here. Coming around, this thing is a little bit like an old Greek temple, I guess. A modern interpretation of that form. Series of columns holding up a roof. Like it looks vaguely like an ancient temple. And it does evoke that sense of something that's been around for a long time, right? Like the heavy stone and the monumentality of it makes it feel timeless, right? And the stone blocks goes on and on. The whole place is surrounded by them. On all sides. And it does also continue outside too. More blocks out there. One more thing. At the front edge of the columbarium, there's little hidden gardens around the front. I guess just some quiet space for contemplation. If you need some time to yourself. Let me walk through this again. Right? I mean, it's just a straight line, it's not complicated or anything. Maybe if they made it a little bit more complicated, it'd be more interesting. But, right, you. Entry. A series of gates. From the light into the dark. And not just dark, but also the blue light, which is a little bit unnatural, right? kind of like a... What's it called? Fairy fire. Spooky. Spooky underworld theme. And then through the underworld, back out into the light. I mean, could be heaven, could be the afterlife. Alright, and that's it. That's a Columbarium. Not that complicated, but a little bit interesting. And that's all the landmarks out here in North Oak. So, as I said, it's a collection of locations that are necessary for the storyline, but which don't really fit inside the busy city. Like the Columbarium doesn't really fit inside the busy city. The Shinto Shrine doesn't really fit inside the busy city. And so anything that doesn't fit in the dense city of Night City, they put it out here in North Oak, where it can be out in the open. But aside from those specific story locations, there's really not much else to it, right? Okay, let me drive down into Charter Hill. The next video we will walk through Charter Hill. Let me just go where we
I don't need that!
my bad. Let me go a bit more forward. So this is also Charter Hill here. Charter Hill has like two parts to it. There's a residential part and an industrial part. I do want to go to the residential part first, so I'm going to come here, and let me get off the bike here. And in the next video, we'll go look at Charter Hill. Alright, see you next time.